conversation with Henry Davis last night. Henry hit on how valuable it is to have a guy like Gino on the bench to maybe just impart some baseball common sense.
It is. It's invaluable to have Gino around, not just for everybody, for the players, for the staff, for everybody going, and to have a guy like Gino around that has the baseball knowledge that he has and the way that he's able to communicate that. It's great to have him around, and I don't know what was said in that conversation. I know that Gino hadn't spoken to Henry in a while, and Gino tried to pull that on me in Detroit too. He said he wasn't talking to Henry again until he got a hit. Joking, of course, but they had a good conversation yesterday, and Henry's been swinging the bat pretty well. I'm glad to see that he had some results yesterday.
Do you notice Henry carrying himself differently during this year's struggles compared to last year's offensive struggles?
I think so. I think he's matured. I think that he's gotten better. We talked about last night the way that he's been able to play defense, to catch, to block, to game call through the struggles. It's not easy to do that whenever you want to contribute offensively, you want the offensive numbers, but for him to stay with it defensively amidst the offensive struggles has been really impressive.
How hard has it been for not just Henry, but Jared Triolo, Brian Reynolds, some of these guys, their expected outcomes versus their actual are drastic differences? How hard has it been to kind of guide those guys through that, where they're hitting the ball hard, they're just not getting the results that they're looking for, at the plate especially?
Yeah, that's tough to go through. When you're going through those times that you are hitting the ball well, but just not getting it, and that's part of baseball, and trying to encourage them to stay with it, continue to grind out their bats and find a way to stay consistent. It can become a mental thing. I think with all three of them, the thing that has impressed me, again, we talked about last night and again today, Henry, Tree, and Brian. Brian, since the All-Star break, has been really, really good in the outfield. Henry has done a fantastic job behind the plate, and Triolo has played very consistent, above-average defense. So the fact that they've continued to work defensively, get better defensively, play consistent defense, and continue to work on their hitting and come through. That swing that Brian had last night on the 3-0 Oppo was awesome. And just his BP yesterday was the same type of thing, just loud, solid contact, and just encouraging them to stay with it. Even though they're hitting the ball hard and hitting it right at people, it's going to change and go the other way eventually.
You played before the expected stats were kind of like a public thing for everyone. Do you think that you would have liked to see that kind of stuff, to say like, hey, you know what, I am kind of getting the short end of the stick on some of these balls that I'm hitting, or do you think that would have been more detrimental to your confidence? Like, man, I just can't catch a break. This isn't great.
I think it's how you look at it, and that's, I think, our job is to continue to encourage them in their work, in the way that they're going about it, that they are barreling balls, and that it will change and they will start to see the results. And I think the more you go through it, we did going through the same thing. I think players in the past did as well. Maybe it is good sometimes, maybe it's bad, I'm not sure, because like you said, we didn't have those expected stats. I think the route that we try to take is to encourage them through it, that they are squaring the ball up, that they are, how do you judge your at-bats based off of the quality of the at-bat, not necessarily based off of the result necessarily. Yes, we do need to see production at some point. Every player does, especially to see, the result of their work, result of the contact, just knowing that it will translate over to having good results if you stay down that path of making good contact.
Donnie, you're facing a young starting pitcher tonight who seems to be ultra aggressive, has very high strikeout rate. Is there a different approach when you talk to hitters about facing a guy like that who seems to be kind of going after guys, for lack of better words, or is it the same message every night?
Our message, I think, changes based on the pitcher, and maybe not the message of having,
or
staying in the
approach.
Zone. Yeah, the approach wise of doing it, just based on the stuff. And when you talk about Burns, I mean, it's elite when you're talking about running it up there into triple digits and the low 90s slider, the off speed. We just have to not expand on him. We have to make sure that we get him in the zone and get pitches to be aggressive on when he gives us a chance.
one of the things that Gene Lamont said that helped Henry was just kind of simplifying it and saying to look for pitches down the middle. Is that kind of a strength of Lamont's to simplify and give a sort of old school, not necessarily analytic free, but like just more common sense approach?
Yeah, more baseball perspective there, and like we talked about before, Gino is so good at simplifying things and finding ways to. He's been through so much in the game to try to help clear the guys' heads on simplifying it and staying. And it sounds so simple of like, oh, we're just looking for a pitch over the plate down the middle. Sometimes that's what it takes to really clear the cobwebs, and because so many thoughts can come in as these guys go out to compete. How do we simplify it, slow it down, and find a way to do some damage on a pitch that is handleable?
You've seen Gene have other examples like that, other stories that have helped either guys on your team?
I'm not sure specifically through this year, but I'm sure he doesn't talk about it either. You know, like he's very low key, very subtle in how he goes about it. So it's not like he's going to be going around telling everybody every conversation that he has. But I'm sure that there are many examples.